Hello. Hello, hello. If we could move, make sure we move right to the end of the rows because it's going to be quite packed at the end of it and there's quite a few more people to come in.
And then the third session tomorrow. Yeah, yeah, this one should be full.
Okay. Are you here based?
Yeah, I'm based.
What? Just for those people who've just come in, can we just make sure we're sitting right to the end of the rows, because we've got about another 15 people or so to get in, so it'd really help. Thank you very much. We get a few more in.
Just a few more.
Yeah, we get a few more. There's like a few, literally. A couple of seats at the top. It's not nice going into the canteen. Have you been in the canteen?
No, we were doing tours when we went.
Oh, okay. I wonder how it looks.
I can check for you and then I'll come back
Yeah,
for
that'd
the
be good.
third one, then I'll tell you what it's like.
Yeah, check. That'd be good.
Hello. These spaces. Sorry?
Good evening, everybody. My name's Mr. Feely, and I'm the principal of Dixon City Academy. First of all, I'd like to thank you for coming this evening. It's brilliant to see so many of you, and I really hope that you think the same way about our school as I do. This is a fantastic school. This is my first year as principal, so I know that for a lot of you, particularly those in Year 6 who are here tonight thinking about coming to a big secondary school, I know kind of a little bit what it's like, feels like to be in your shoes as well, because this is a new school for me. I came here because I strongly believe that this is one of the best schools in the country, and we're going to talk a little bit about today about what makes Dixon City Academy so special. I was previously in London, and I came especially to work here, to be the principal of this school. So, behind you can see our vision and values. And we strongly believe that every single child should be able to achieve their full potential and to be able to change the world for the better. Our 5 pride values, which we're going to talk a little bit about today, are the bedrock of which everything else in our school is built upon. We have a strong respect for diversity. So one of the brilliant things about Dixon City Academy is we're a non-selective, non-faith school. And we embrace everybody of different cultures, of different faiths and of no faith, and we work together harmoniously. We've got a strong history, and Miss Watson, who's standing next to me, is the executive principal of Dixon City Academy. Some of you may know her. She was formerly the principal for quite a while, so some of you may have seen her before. But we've got a long track record of success. So our pride values that we talked about before, so our purpose, our respect, our integrity, our determination, our excellence, are really, really important for us. And what's most important is that everybody understands exactly what these mean. So they're not just words that are left by themselves. We spend a lot of time working with our students and our whole community, so everybody understands exactly what they mean and how we need to act to live by these values. We start with purpose and we finish with excellence. And that's quite fitting, really, because our purpose is excellence. So everything that we do at this academy should be about trying to be the best that we can be. I'm going to hand over now to Miss Watson, who's going to talk to you a little bit about the history of our academy and what makes us so unique.
Okay, good evening and welcome to Dixon City. It is a pleasure to see so many people here. We are one of the most oversubscribed schools in the country, and that's something that we're very, very proud of. It's the first time I've stood here as executive principal. My role changed last year, and in order to accommodate my role working across the trust, we appointed Mr. Feely. I think, was it back in February? It seems like quite a long time ago now. One of the we had a very, very rigorous, some might say torturous, selection procedure that he went through over 2 days. But really the criteria that it came down to me was this somebody that would be absolutely passionate about this school? Was this somebody that would love this school the way that I've loved this school? Nurture the staff, nurture the students, and I'm absolutely delighted to say that already I know that that is absolutely the case with Mr. Feely, and I've just said to him last week, those of you that know me, and I know there's even people in the audience who I've taught, that's how long I've been with Dixon's, will know that my passion, my firstborn is Dixon City, and I said to him last week that one of the best things about appointing him is having somebody that shares that passion and being able to talk about Dixon City with somebody who already loves it as much as I have for many, many years. So big welcome to Mr. Feely, and it's a genuine pleasure to be standing here with him tonight. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about the history. I hope that doesn't mean that I'm the past and Mr. Feely is the present. I hope that the history and the future are joining together, and I think you'll see that for the first time tonight. But I just want to talk to you a little bit about it. We are very, very proud of the past here. Of course, we've got a keen eye on the present and the future, but I think all schools have a unique history, and to us, we believe that we've got a very unique and proud history as well. It's a very authentic culture, and it's a culture that has continued throughout the 28 years. So I know that, like I said, there's people in the audience, and there was in the last audience as well, who came to this school, who still recognise that despite the many differences and the fact that things have changed over the years in many ways, there is still a fundamental culture that has always been here since 1990 as well. And I think the fact we've always been passionate about what we do here, and that passion has stayed with us for 28 years. And we've always been a high-performing school as well. There are very few schools nationally and locally that have sustained that level of high performance. And that is because we have stuck to what we've believed in over many, many years. And we are proud that we've got a national reputation, and that we are the original flagship Dixon school. We have a joke with our family of Dixon schools that we are the original school and also the best, and they allow us to have that joke with them as well. Just in terms of results, Mr. Feely will talk to you a little bit more about the results for this year, but just to put that into a bit of context rather than just being words, 2017, our results put us in the top 10% in the country, which is pretty good. It wasn't good enough for us. 2018, we're expecting that the results will be the top 2% in the country. Mr. Feely has worked this out by looking at where we will be placed, all things being equal, which would have been my job last year, but it's his job this year. We beat all the schools in Leeds, including all the outstanding schools, and in Bradford there was only one school unfortunately that beat us on attainment, and that was Dixon's Trinity. It just beat us, so it won't happen next year, will it, Mr. Feely? We're very supportive of one of those other across the trust, but we have that healthy competition as well. Our self-evaluation, so we're just waiting for a section 5, which will be full Ofsted. We haven't had a full Ofsted for many years. Our self-evaluation is accurately outstanding. If you're in the top 2% in the country, you can't be anything other than outstanding, I would say. No pressure, Mr. Feely. But we're still determined that we're going to do even better, because ultimately 2%, top 2% is not good enough. And that's not because we want to be just top of the league table because we want to be the best. It's because if we are at the top of the league table, it means that our students are doing the best. And we genuinely believe that our students, that Bradford deserves that. I've worked in Bradford for most of my career in education, and that's because I strongly believe in this community, and this is where I want to make a difference, and I'm working right across Bradford now as well. So those league tables are only important because those league tables mean children. It means that we are doing everything we can to make the difference to young people's lives in Bradford. So how do we do it, and how do we continue to do it? Over 28 years, these are the things that have never changed in this school. Hard work, This school has always been about hard work. It's never been about following trends. It's never been about off the shelf. It's always about doing things our own way. We refer to it as the Dixon's difference, and that's now a term that's used right across the trust. For those of you who know Mr. Weller, Sir Nick Weller, who was the principal before me, it was him that first coined this term, the Dixon's difference, because it is how we do things in our own way. We do what we say. So we have very, very simple rules, but if we say there's a rule, the rule is followed up and everybody understands exactly what those rules are. The students are not surprised if they have a detention after school or a correction after school because they know exactly what the rules are. They will tell you what rule they've broken. We ask them, well, what is the rule that you've broken? And that's always been the case. The rules may have changed over the years, for lots of different reasons, not massively, but there might be difference in rules, but we've always followed up, and that's something we've done for 28 years. We've always had this forensic attention to detail. The small things matter. Some people talk about sweating the small stuff. It's a bit of an Americanism, but that forensic attention for the small things. So if we notice something very, very small about a child, we make sure that we join up the dots to make sure there is no real issue with the child, and it's about every single thing that we do is about that level of detail. We've always talked about our three-way partnership, and again, this is something that if you came to this school, your parents will have heard this, the three-way partnership between us, you, the parents, and the children, and that's because we believe in that powerful partnership. We can't do it alone. You need to support us in making sure the children are here, in making sure that that homework is done, in making sure that they're here on time, in making sure that that uniform is absolutely 100%. And we rely on you. We rely on you to back us up when we're getting it right, but also back us up possibly when we're getting it wrong. Tell us when we're getting it wrong. We'll put it right and we'll work with you. We believe in supporting and challenging. Support, absolutely. Mr. Feely will talk to you about our support systems. You can't be challenging without support, but we do also believe in challenging as well. And that's not just for the students, that's the staff as well. The staff will tell you that this is an incredibly supportive school, but we do challenge as well. We challenge each other to get better. We challenge the staff. We expect the staff to challenge us as leaders as well. Highly visible leadership. This is a school where every single morning, every single break, every single dinner time, every single after school, every single senior leader is out. They are out on duty. And that's because the safety, the well-being, the happiness of the children in this school is absolutely paramount. There are no backroom offices for leaders in this school. Leaders are in lessons every single day, and they're in them to make sure that the learning environment is right. Highly, highly visible. That would have been me last year. I'm here much less this year because I'm working across the trust, but it is this year, absolutely, it's Mr. Feely. And I know that he's doing it because I know that the students know him already. And when I come in, they're all telling me already, we do miss you, Miss Watson, but Mr. Feely, we really like Mr. Feely too. They're ever so diplomatic. So we know our students and we know our school. And that is how we know our students. Because we're out there having those conversations. We're watching all the time. We're thinking about, why is that child sitting over there? Does that child look unhappy? Why has that child not been in education yesterday or the day before? And we constantly communicate with one another to make sure that we don't miss anything. It's quite a small school, this, for a secondary school. I know for primary school children it'll feel really big, but by Bradford standards, it's only really medium-sized. And that's one of its successes, that you can actually know your children because it's not too big. We absolutely live and breathe our vision and values, and that is what I expect you to see when you go around. What you saw at the start of the presentation from Mr. Feely was our vision and our values. That is just a slide, but you should be able to hear that, feel that, see that everywhere you go tonight, when you speak to the staff, when you go in the classrooms, when you talk to our students as well. And we are absolutely driven to be even better today than we are tomorrow than we are today. And like I said, that is about moral purpose. It's about us making a difference to the community and the community that we serve. Because the thing that I genuinely believe, and I know that Mr. Feely believes it as well, that to lead is to serve. And that is why our leaders are not in back offices. They are out there. And actually, I think Mr. Feely will tell you, the further you go up, if you like, the promotion, the more you serve. And I would say that about my role now as well. I think that actually the further up the promotion I've gone, the more I see it as my duty to serve. And I think that's one part of the Dixon's difference. So I'll hand you over to Mr. Feely.
So why? Why choose Dixon City Academy? Why do we do everything that we do? So really it's about that. It's about that so our young people can leave at 16 or at 18 and have the ability and the grades and the cultural capital to change the world for the better. But not only that, they can choose what they want to do because they've got exceptional exam results, because they have the qualifications, because they understand how to be a good person and how to act in different situations. They can choose. They can choose which course to study, whether to go to university or go to employment or take up an apprenticeship. They can choose to do what they want to do. They don't have to do just what's left or what their few qualifications they may have got says they need to do. Because of the high quality education they get here, they get some exceptional results and they can choose to do what they want to do. So how we get about that, there's no other way apart from us having high expectations about everything. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I mean by that. So no excuses. If you're late to school, you will get a correction. If you're late to lesson, you will get a correction. And we believe that it's really important to have high expectations of every single member of our school community. We expect our students to follow the instructions first time, every time. And it's not about the power because I'm the principal or the teacher's the teacher or somebody is an adult and they're a child and they should listen. It's not about that. It's about the purpose of learning. And if a child follows the instruction first time, every time, it means that we can have more time for learning and have learning conversations. So it's really, really important that every single thing that we do is based around learning. It's based around purpose and not about power. We have a no answering back rule here. So if a student's given an instruction, we expect them to follow it first time, every time. And it's not because their opinion's not important. It really, really is. But if that student starts to get into a bit of an argument, it just means that it takes away time for learning. As Miss Watson said, we're around before school, break time, lunchtime, after school. If there's ever an issue, the students can come and talk to us and say, Mr. Feely, I really like this, or Mr. Feely, I wasn't sure about this, or I didn't like this. Yes, student voice is so important. And we've got lots of mechanisms in place, like the school council and various other things, where the students can really express their opinion. But we do expect our students to do the right thing first time, every time, and no answering back. We strongly believe in no opt-out. So if a student's learning, every single student in that classroom and every single student when they come into this building is a place of excellence and we're all learning. 100% of students are on task 100% of the time. And there's not that one student, even if it's one student out of 165 in that year group, that one student can potentially affect people's learning just slightly. At our school, that doesn't happen. We have a real respect for diversity. We're a non-selective school, we're a non-faith-based school. And what that means is we have a rich culture, a rich community in our school. One of the most special things about Dixon City Academy is the community and how people from different faiths, from different cultural backgrounds, with different SEN needs and individual needs work together in harmony. It's a truly special place. We strongly believe that better people make better learners. And we believe that we won't see how good somebody is, how successful I am or Miss Watson is, based on our GCSE results or our exam results. Yes, they're important because it gets people the choice and allows them to have that voice to change the world for the better. But that's not a predictor of success. We'll know how successful we've been in this school when we see what kind of parents they'll become, what kind of leaders they will be in the community, what kind of jobs they'll have, how they've made a difference. That's when we'll know our true sign of success. And just to give a little bit of an anecdote of that, I recently received a letter from a professor at Leeds University and a student who had just graduated from there with a first. She wrote a letter to thank us. She'd done exceptionally well in the GCSEs in English. She did English A-level and she went on to get a first in a degree at Leeds University. And her professor said, look, she's an amazing student and she's a pleasure to have and she's done very well in a degree. But she learnt to be successful from what she learnt at Dixon City Academy. And thank you for that. Please can you thank all of her teachers. And for me, that's fantastic. But we'll know we're even more successful when she goes on and changes the world for the better. Lineups. So most days your child will have a lineup where we talk about our values, when we talk about what individually each value means. Every school that you go and see or you speak to or you go and visit will have a set of values. But for us, our pride values are not just words. It's really important that we tie every single value into actions. And the lineups that are led by the heads of year and senior members of staff specifically talk about what that means. So for example, our value this week, we're focusing on integrity, the eye of pride. And we're saying what that means in your lessons. Everybody works hard. You follow instructions first time, every time. We track the speaker. So whoever's talking, we all look at them. It's really, really important that we tie our values to actions so people understand them and they know what they mean. We believe in a same-day correction. So if you do something wrong, if you're late to school, if you're late to lesson, if you miss a bit of homework, if you're off task in lesson, and that quite rarely happens, to be honest, you have a same-day correction. And we believe that's important. Yes, so you get an instant sanction for your behaviour, so you learn to put it right. But more importantly, for the next day, you are forgiven. So you can come back to school with a clean slate, ready to go again. It's all about purpose, not power. So as I say to the students, and I've said this to every single student in our academy, you shouldn't do something because I've told you to. That's a terrible reason to do it. You should do what I've told you to do because it's the right thing to do, and also because it's going to help your learning or other people's learning. And if you don't do that, it'll get in the way of your learning or somebody else's. So it's about purpose, and everything that we do is about maximising that learning time. And we live our pride values, our artefacts, how we act as a community. Hopefully, as Miss Watson said, when you go around our academy, you'll see that. You'll see our students acting like that, and you'll see our staff acting like it. Make sure you ask them lots of questions. What I have to put into context, at our school we are passionate about being the best. Currently we're in the top 2%. Lots of schools in the country would be dying to be in the top 2%. In fact, 97% of the other schools would be dying to be in our position. And to put that into context, what does 90% of the other schools, 97% of the other schools mean? That's 3,600 schools would love to be this school. But we're not happy with that. We want to be in the top 1%. In fact, we're not happy with that. We won't be happy until we're consistently number one in the country, year in, year out. And we're all working towards that aim. So our purpose is excellent. I'm just going to repeat this. This is not an easy place to be if you want to be average. If you're okay with just doing a little bit or kind of working hard, don't come here. Seriously, it's not going to be the place for you. It's going to be too hard. If you want to come here and you really want to be the best, if you want to be exceptional, if you want to be the best person you can be, then this could be the place for you. But it's not an easy place necessarily for those people who don't want to be the best that they can be. So Miss Watson said about no surprises, really important for us. So every single member of our community understands what our pride values are, how we act them, but also what's expected in terms of being on time to school, being on time to lessons, no answering back. Clear things that we expect from every single person. We continually look to improve and just how we can tweak things, making it 1% better and 1% better. And when we add all those 1% up, we start to make a big difference. So, just to talk you through, although this is not the big determinator of our success, it is something that we're really proud of and we should celebrate. So our A-level results this year, over one in every other grade with either an A star, an A or a B. Nearly every single student passed the course that they were on. Our value-added score, the students that we get into our sixth form, come with exceptional GCSE results. But despite that, they do better than what they are predicted to get by almost half a grade. So they make incredible progress in the sixth form at Dixon City Academy. But what does this mean in GCSE? So 66% of students got a 9 to 5. In 9 to 4, 82% of students got the 9 to 4 with English and Maths. And what does this mean? So based on the end of their Key Stage 2 results, what they got, if they get what they should have got, they'd get a score of 0. Our score is probably going to be around about 0.83 to 0.85. And that will mean that around about an average student in an average subject has got an average grade that is at least, or well, almost one grade higher than what they're expected to get. That's fantastic progress. So how we support you? So there's a range of support that we put in place for our students. We have form tutors, we have heads of year, we have individual needs department which supports students with special educational needs and a variety of needs that they may have. We have a full-time, just waiting, there's a couple of people at the back just need to concentrate a bit better. Thank you. It's really important, one of our values, and if you're thinking of coming here, you need to have a real serious consideration because one of our key values is integrity and that involves tracking the speaker. So I would really question if this is the right place for you to at the back. We have a full-time qualified nurse. who, if there's an issue, people can go to. If there's any issues with injuries or illness, you can go and see them. We focus on knowing each individual child so we can build those strong relationships which are essential to success. And we really believe that it takes a whole community to raise a child. The way that we've got success over a period of many years isn't through parents dropping their child off and just saying, good luck, Mr. Feely, good luck, Miss Watson. It's through the relationship with the child, with you, that's so important. There was some research that was released last year that's made me feel a little bit sad and made me think, well, what am I even doing as a head teacher? Because it said what happens at home is 5 times more powerful than what happens in a school. So we need you, parents. We need to work with you. Children, we need to work with you as well, but you need to work with us if we're going to be that #1 school and you're going to achieve excellence. So we have a homeschool contract, which is clearly laid out what we expect from the children and what we expect from the parents and what we will deliver as staff. And we really think that it's a process of doing with rather than doing to. So 3 questions that I think you should think about as you go around today. 1, does it sound right? Is what I'm saying, is what Miss Watson said, something that you want, is right for you as a student and is right for you as parents? Is it something that you align to your values? Does it look right? Is this kind of school that it should be? And does it feel right? This should be it's a big decision. It's 5 years where you're going to spend your days. And it has to be a decision for your heart, but also for your head. So really consider that too. So what next? As you go around, ask lots of questions. Don't just take my word for it. Speak to our students. They're our biggest and they're the proudest thing that we have in our school. They're our best thing that we have in our school. Speak to our students. Ask them. Speak to our staff. Go and visit other schools. See, are they saying things that we're saying? Is there a difference? And see if there's any changes or are we really as special as what we say we are? I think we are. Make sure you understand how to apply. There's some, if you don't understand how to apply, there's some tables in reception that have got desks out, and just go and have a word with them. Go and speak to some members of staff in reception. There's lots of people here to help you. The deadline for admissions is coming up quite quickly. It's on the 21st of September. We also operate a testing. So if you want to come here, you need to come on the 13th of October, and you'll sit a test and you'll be placed into one of 9 bands. We're a non-selective school, so it's not about you doing really well on the test and you're going to get in, or you don't do very well and you won't. We're an inclusive school, so we take an equal proportion from each band. As I said, we believe in random selection, so we're a non-selective school, we're a non-faith-based school, we're a school where is open for everybody. There are 16 places, so around about 10% of our admissions are for those people who have a specific talent in performing arts. And if you're interested, or you think you have a talent, or your daughter or your child has a talent, go and speak to the head of performing arts, assistant principal in charge of performing arts, who's based in the Mall area. So as you walk through, you should see some of our performers singing. Myself and Miss Watson had the pleasure of seeing them sing earlier. They're preparing for Zeus the Musical, and it's exceptional. I've travelled up from London. I used to go to the West End quite a lot to see the shows, and that's, if not just as good, it's probably better than what you'd see and pay to see. So the standard is really, really exceptional. You'll be informed by March the 1st if your application has been successful. Okay, I'm just going to put our values up and our vision for the board, for the school, and you can read it as you go out. Once again, I'd just like to thank you very much for coming to our open evening this evening. I hope you think it's as special school as myself and Miss Watson believe that it is. And thank you very much for coming. Is that it? Yeah, great, out there, yeah. Good evening, everybody. My name is Mr. Feely. I'm the principal of Dixon City Academy. Before I talk through what we're going to be talking through this evening, I just would like to remind everybody to make sure your mobile phones are switched off and we don't have any distractions through the talk. So behind you, which I'm sure quite a lot of you have already read, is our vision and our value statement. And there's a few things that are really, really important for us. First of all, we're really passionate about every single child fulfilling their full potential. And quite a few of them, and in fact most people, aren't really aware of their full potential. It's really important that us, as a school at Dixon City Academy, we really try and help our students to fulfill their full potential. We're really passionate about our students being able to leave this school and change the world for the better. Because we believe that with a strong education and with a strong moral compass, they'll be able to do that. We have our 5 pride values. I'm going to spend a bit of the time tonight talking about those, and they're really, really important. Every school will have values, but what's different and what's unique about City Academy is how we live those values and what each value means. We're ambitious for everybody. And we're a really diverse community. We're a non-selective school. We have students of all prior attainment ages. We have students with individual needs. We have students who are really excelling. We have a wide variety of students at our school. We have different faiths and some students with no faith. And one of the special things about our school is how people work together, and there's a really strong sense of community. I'm going to hand over in a minute now to Miss Watson. And Miss Watson, some of you will know, and I think quite a few people have already come and say hello to Miss Watson already. Miss Watson was the principal of Dixon City Academy for quite a few years before me. And she's going to talk to you about really what makes us unique and why we're such a special place.
Okay, good evening and welcome. It's an absolute pleasure to see many of you here tonight. Many ex-students have just said this is the third audience, and in every single one of them there's been ex-students who are now parents. Somebody said, oh, that's brilliant, what does that mean, Miss Watson? And I think they were saying it in a complimentary way, meaning it must mean how great it is that they want to come back and bring their children to the school. I said, I think it means actually that I'm old. I'm here tonight actually as executive principal, and I know many of you over the years have heard me talk as principal, but I'm absolutely delighted to be with Mr. Feely tonight. My role changed last year. I became an executive principal across the trust. I am still working with Dixon City, but it's an absolute pleasure that I'm with Mr. Feely tonight. He was appointed, we think it was around about February, it seems like quite a long time ago. He was enticed to come up to the north from London to work in Bradford, and the reason why he wanted to come was because he'd heard of the reputation of Dixon City, and this was the school that he really wanted to work in. So I think that in itself is a testament to the strong reputation of the school. We put him through 2 days of absolute torture to make sure that he was the right person for us, and also for him to make sure that we were the right school for him as well. But ultimately what it came down to for me, and I was very privileged that I was able to be part of that selection process, because obviously it's somebody that's coming after me, which is quite unusual that you're allowed to be involved in it. And what it really came down to for me was he going to love this school the way that I've loved it? Because any of you that will know me will know that this school is like my firstborn. Was he going to love the students? Was he going to love the staff? And really, really nurture this school? And I can tell you already that that's what he's done, even in his first few weeks. So I've now got somebody that I can talk to at length about my absolute passion, Dixon City, and somebody who shares that passion with me as well. So it's absolutely great to be here with him tonight. So as the old person, I have the opportunity to talk a little bit about the past. but only because the past absolutely informs the current position and also the future as well. And I hope what you'll see is how that past absolutely flows through as well. And those of you who were students here, who are now parents or are here with siblings tonight, I think what you'll hear is how there are still so many things that the school did 28 years ago, even though so many things have changed as well, and that we continue to do, and that is why the school has been so consistently successful. All schools obviously have their own history. We believe that ours is unique, and we are very proud of it. It's a very, very individualistic and authentic culture that is absolutely driven by moral purpose. And everything that we do, we've made a few jokes about how important it is that we are right at the top of the performance tables, but ultimately that's not about us just being the top of the league tables just because it makes us feel good. That's about the students that are in our care. It's about the people of Bradford as well, because we believe that our children and Bradford deserves to be right up there at the absolute top. And that's why it is that I've dedicated most of my educational career to working in this city. So 28 years as a high-performing school. I don't think there are many schools in the country that have such a consistent record, and it's okay doing it one year, but to do it year in, year out, and I'm not saying that every single year that we've been absolutely up there, but over 28 years, if you look at the history, it has been a very, very consistently high-performing school, and not just in terms of the local measure, in terms of the national measure as well. It does have a national reputation. It has a national reputation as the flagship Dixon School, which is why Mr. Feely came all the way from London, because he knew about the reputation of the school. And, you know, we are now and I'm very proud to say this, you know, a growing trust. We're actually the highest performing trust in the country for the secondary schools, and that's all of the Dixon schools. But, you know, we always make sure that we continue to say that this school was the original, and of course, as far as we're concerned, it's the best as well. So in terms of results over the last couple of years, 2017, our results put us in the top 10% in the country, but that wasn't good enough for us. And this year, Mr. Feely, because it's his job now to come up with these statistics, put us in the top 2% in the country. And actually not being the principal, I feel like I can boast about it even more now, because I feel like I can step away from it a little bit more. So really, really proud that those results came in this summer and put us in the top 2% in the country. Second in Bradford, which only one school that beat us just, and that was Dixon's Trinity. Somebody said to me in the last presentation, Miss Watson, I know you said you have a healthy competition, but we were up at King's last night, and King's said that they were second in Bradford. And I just need to make absolutely clear, because Mr. Miley is a very dear friend and colleague of mine, he's talking about a different measure. He's talking about progress 8, I'm talking about 5+ attainment. So we're both telling the truth, but in a different way. Very, very healthy competition. We're very, very supportive of each other, but we are also slightly competitive as well. In terms of self-evaluation, we're waiting for a Section 5 Ofsted. It's a long time since we've had a full inspection. We had a 1 day just to check that everything was okay, which is what they do with consistently good schools. And the report is absolutely clear that they're indicating that we should get a 2-day to test us for outstanding. Our self-evaluation is accurately outstanding. You cannot possibly be the top 2% in the country without being judged to be an outstanding school. But we are determined to do even better, and Mr. Feely will talk to you about our ambition to be even better. And like I said, that is not about us, joking apart. That is not about us beating Trinity or King's or Macmillan or Ollerton or Cottingley, which is coming up behind us. That is about our students. That is about Bradford, because those statistics are individuals. Those statistics are young people, and we want them to do the absolute best that they possibly can do so they can go out and change the world for the better. So how do we do it? How have we always done it over the 28 years? And for those of you who've been here as students, I think you'll see that even though some of the routines may have changed, some of the practices may have changed, the approach has always been the same. Hard work, there are no gimmicks. We have never bought things off the shelf at Dixon City. We've always talked about the Dixon's difference. In other words, we do it our own way, in the way we think is best for our students, is best for the community of Bradford. But ultimately, it comes down to hard work. It's a place where we expect students to work hard, and we definitely expect staff to work hard as well, which means that it's not always the easy option, and Mr. Feely will talk to you more about that in a moment. We do what we say. So whatever the rule is, and our rules are very, very simple, we will follow up on that rule. And it might be that you are wearing the wrong colour socks, but if you're wearing the wrong colour socks, that means that you have broken that uniform rule. Our students all know what the rules are. They're absolutely clear, and they will be able to tell you what they are. We have a forensic attention to detail, and that is in everything that we do, because the small things really, really matter. And that is about the knowledge of our students. By Bradford standards, this school is only medium-sized, and that's one of the reasons why we know our students so well. 165 in a year group might sound a lot when you come from primary school, but it is quite small by Bradford standards, which means that we do form those relationships with students, and we form those relationships with parents as well, that are so important for us. If you came to this school 29 years ago, when it was the CTC, when it was a very controversial school in Bradford, you would have heard the first principal, Sir John Lewis, talking about the three-way partnership. And I'm very proud to stand here tonight and still say that the three-way partnership matters to us. Ultimately, we are in this together. We need to work together. And that is the children, the young people in our care, the parents, and us as staff as well. We believe in support and challenge in equal measure. Absolutely, we will support the children in our care. Absolutely, we support our staff to get better. However, we also challenge as well, and we expect to be challenged by the students if we're not getting it right, challenged by the parents if we're not getting it right. As a leadership team, we expect to be challenged by the staff as well if we're not getting it right as well. Support and challenge are absolutely vital. Highly, highly visible leadership. If your child is in school, before school, or break, or lunchtime, or after school, every single time that they are around school, they will see the leadership team. That would have been me last year. It's me less this year because I'm across several schools, but it is definitely Mr. Feely. And every time I walk into this school, I see Mr. Feely and the team round and about. And that is because it should be the leadership team who are round and about at lunchtime. It should not be cover supervisors. It should not be brought in people who don't know your children. Because actually, it is as important to be forensically monitoring children in the dinner queue as it is to be making sure that they're learning well in the classroom as well. Our leadership team are in every single lesson, every single day, making sure that the learning culture is absolutely right. So really, really visible leadership, which is how we know our school and how we know our students as well. We absolutely live and breathe our vision and our values. What you saw, that first slide, is not just a slide. And that's not just coming from me or Mr. Feely. If you go around the school tonight, talk to the students, they live and breathe it as well. They absolutely understand what this school is all about. And it isn't just words on a piece of paper. We genuinely believe that we want our young people to be empowered to go out and change the world for the better. And we are driven to be even better. And, you know, the jokes about, you know, the competition within the Dixon's Trust, they are jokes. We work together in order to do everything we can to empower the lives of our young people so that we can do everything that we can for Bradford. And ultimately, leading is to serve. And I hope that that's a message that you've heard in all of the other Dixon schools as well. And that is definitely the way that I see leadership, the way that Mr. Feely sees leadership as well. And at that point, I shall hand over. Thank you.
So the big question is why? Why Dixon City Academy? And for me, really, it comes down to one big thing. So our students can leave and have the capacity to be able to change the world for the better. So they leave here at 16 or 18 and they have the cultural capital and the skills and the knowledge to go and make that choices and make the choices to make the world a better place. And just building on from that, they actually have options available to them. They have the power of choice. They don't just have to do whatever they have to do because of the results that they got or really whatever's left. They can go and do whatever they really want to and fulfill their ambitions and study things that really appeal to them because of that rich education, because they understand how to succeed and how to act and know and understand things. So they can leave with that power of choice. So how do we go about it? So there's only really one way, and that's about having high expectations, firstly of ourselves as leaders in the school and of our staff, but of every single member of our school community, and particularly our students too. So what does this mean? So we believe in no excuses. We expect you to be on time for school and on time for lesson every day. And if you don't, then you will get a correction. I'll talk about a little bit about that in a bit. We believe that you should follow instructions first time, every time. And we don't believe in answering back. It might seem a little bit authoritarian to say this, but it's not that. It's about purpose, not power. So if you don't do what you're asked to as a student and you get into a discussion about it, that takes learning time away. It's not that we don't believe in student voice. Student voice is really important to us. We have a school council, and as Miss Watson said, I'll be around every day before school, at break time, lunchtime, and after school. And students can come and talk to us. They can come and talk to us about anything, something they like, weren't sure about, or didn't know. But when we ask them to do something, we ask them to do it straight away, first time, every time. And the purpose is because it's for their learning. They shouldn't do it because I've told them to. That's a rubbish reason, and I'd never expect any member of staff or student to do it because I told them to. They should do it because it's the right thing to do, and it's about helping them learn. And it's about maximising their learning time. So that's the reason why we expect people to do it. We expect every single child and every single member of our school community to be on task 100% of the time. As Miss Watson said, we have 165 students in a year group, and we expect every single one of them to be on task. As a leadership team, myself and the rest of the leadership team walk around and we visit every single lesson every single day. And we check that the culture's right, and we check that every student is on task. We have a strong respect for diversity. We're a non-selective school. We have students of no faith and of different faiths. We have students with individual needs. We have students from different cultural backgrounds. And one of the fantastic things about Dixon City Academy, and the reason why I've come up from London to come and be in the school, because it's a tremendously special place where people act harmoniously with each other. We believe that better people make better learners. So we'll know how successful we are as a school not by the results that people get in their GCSEs or in their A-levels, but what kind of people they are when they're older, what kind of parents they are, what kind of leaders they are, what kind of professionals they are. That's how we'll know how successful we've been. And just to put this into context, I was really glad this week to receive a letter from a professor at Leeds University. And she was saying it was a thank you letter because one of her students used to come here and she did English at GCSE, and then she went on and studied English at A-level, and she went on to do a degree at English. And she said she was amazing. She got a really high class first in her degree, and she was one of the best students in her year. And she said she was amazing, but really we didn't do much with her because she came so ready to be successful by what you managed to do with her at Dixon City Academy. So that was a fantastic example for us to be able to receive, and an image of success isn't just exam results, it's the kind of person that you are. Most days we have lineups, and during lineups our students will really clearly understand what we mean by our values. So yes, we have our pride values, and every school has to have a set of values, but what's special about us, what's unique about us, is we tie these to artifacts. We tie these to specific actions in our school community. So for example, our value this week is integrity. And what we mean by that into our students, and what we're saying is we expect every single one of you to be tracking the speaker. We expect every single one of you to be looking at the person who's talking. When we come into your lessons, we expect every single one of you to be working hard and doing the right thing 100% of the time. So we tie that into our actions. So people aren't just sure about, well, what does purpose mean, or what does determination mean? The specific actions that you should see. And as you go around our academy, some of you have already been around our school before, but if you haven't yet had a chance to go around and visit some of the different departments, go and speak to our students, and you should be able to see our pride values in action. You should be able to see our staff leading with purpose and respect and integrity and determination and excellence. We believe in a same-day correction, so if you do get something wrong, if you are late to lesson or you forget a piece of homework or if you're slightly off task, you will get a correction at the end of the day. And we think that's really important for two reasons. One, because it's an instant sanction, but also the second thing is that the next day you come to school and you have a clean slate. What's gone, yes, you've had your sanction from it. We've had a correction to try and improve that behaviour, but you start again the next day. And so we believe in forgiveness as well. As I said, it's about purpose, not about power. You shouldn't be doing it because you're told to. You should be doing it because it's the right thing to do, and it's to help you learn. We live our pride values, our artifacts, the way that we act, and our purpose is excellence. So every single thing that we should do should be about moving towards that approach. So Miss Watson said to you before about clarity, our clarity of voice. There shouldn't be any surprises. What we hope and what we expect from every single student is to act in a certain way, every single member of staff to act in a certain way. And there shouldn't be any surprises in terms of what's expected. We look to continually improve, and to be such an outstanding school as we are. We haven't yet got the official label of outstanding, but in every other aspect we are, and when Ofsted come back, we most certainly will be. I feel like I'm putting a bit of pressure on myself here, but we most certainly will be. But we're looking at those small margins of success. What are the little tweaks that we can do to get better and to get better, and following the process of marginal gains? What are the small differences and the tweaks that we can make to continually look to improve? What I would say, and what I have to emphasise, is if you don't want to be the best that you can be, don't come to this school. If you're happy with being average, if you want to be just okay, if you want to get just kind of do okay in life, don't come here. It's going to be too hard for you. It's not going to be any fun. If you want to be the best, if you're somebody who's really aspirational and wants to be the best person you can be, the best learner, the best student, the best leader, this is the place for you. But it's not easy. Being the best isn't easy. It takes hard work every single day. So if that's you, this is the place. But if you're just thinking, oh, I just want to come to a secondary school and have an easy ride, don't come here. It's going to be too hard. So, track record of excellence. So just talking about, we said before about our exam results not just being the indicator of our success, seeing what kind of people they become, what parents, what leaders, what professionals they become. But it is worth celebrating the tremendous achievement that our children make. So for example, last year, every other grade at A level, more than every other grade, was either an A star, an A, or a B. Nearly every single student that took their exam passed their exam. The value added that we made, an average student in an average subject made nearly half a grade better than what they're due to get based on their already outstanding GCSE results. So these students, from their amazing GCSE results, are predicted to get a certain amount. If they got that, they would have got 0. An average student, an average subject, is getting almost half a grade better than what they're expected to get. So what does this mean at GCSE as well? So our 9 to 5, 66% of our students got the 9 to 5 with English and maths. 80, it's actually 83%. One student had a remark that went up, got 9 to 4 in English and maths. But what does this actually mean? Because it shouldn't just be about attainments. What does this actually mean? So in terms of what a student got in their SATs, and if you're in year 6 now, you'll be sitting your SATs sometime in the summer term, and from those results, they'll predict that you should get a certain grade in your secondary school. If you got that, our school progress would be 0. On average, our average student, our average subject, has 0.83 progress. So nearly a whole grade better than what they're predicted to get. And that puts us around about the top 2% of schools nationally. So if you like it in a numerical number, out of 6,400 secondary schools, we're currently 84th. We're not happy with that. We want to continue to improve. And we won't be happy until we're consistently, not even in the top 1%, that top number one of schools. But it takes everybody working together to be able to do that. So how we support you? So form tutors, heads of year, individual needs, full-time qualified nurse, behaviour support workers, focus on knowing the individual. It's really important about relationships. It takes a whole community to raise a child. There's a famous African saying that says it takes a whole village to raise a child. And we've kind of tweaked that and said it takes a whole community to raise a child. A little bit of research that I read last year made me a bit sad about thinking, well, what am I even doing coming to school? Because it said whatever happens at home is 5 times more powerful than what happens at school. So we need you. It's not just about the parents dropping children off or saying go to school and then saying good luck Mr. Feely, try your best with them. No, we need you. We need to work together. We need the children to work with us. And if we can all work together, we'll have tremendous success. So we have a homeschool contract. Again, it comes back to clarity and over-communication of clarity. There's key things that we expect from you, and we lay them out in a homeschool contract. Some things that we'll sign from a school's point of view, some things we expect from your child, and some things we expect from you. And this process really is about doing with you rather than doing it to you. So, 3 questions I want you to think about as you're going around the school. Number 1, does it sound right? Is what I'm saying right for you? Are you somebody who wants to be the best? Are you really somebody who wants to be the best person, the best learner, the best student you can be? If that's so, then this might be the right school. Does it look right? Is what you're seeing, is what I'm saying actually adding up with what you see around the building? Do you see our staff and our students acting and embodying our pride values? Do you see respect? Do you see integrity? Do you see some excellence? Does it feel right? Sometimes when you go into a building or a school, you just kind of get that feeling where it just feels right. And that's when you know the decision is the right one for you to come here. For your child and for year 6 students who are here, this is a big decision. 5 years of your life. You need to make sure that this is the right school for you. So what next? Ask lots of questions. Go and visit other schools. As Miss Watson said before, we're the original Dixon school. Dixon's Academy Trust has got a national reputation and becoming really international in terms of its reputation. We're the original, we're the flagship school, and we think we're the best. Some people might disagree, but that's up to them. And they're wrong, yeah. Make sure you understand how to apply this. Some people at the front desk, if you're not sure, just ask them and they'll help you. They're there today to help you with any questions you might have. So essential admissions form, you need to make sure you get this in. The deadline is the 24th of September. So make sure that's the first thing that you need to do. And then we have testing on the 13th of October. So if you think you want to come here, make sure you come to testing on the 13th of October. What that means is, just to kind of put out any myths, this is a non-selective school. From the tests, your child will be put into one of 9 bands. And it's a bit like an IQ test. And what we will do is we'll take a random sample from every band. So it's non-selective. It doesn't matter how well you do or how badly you do on the test. It shouldn't make any difference. It's completely about random selection. If your child is has a particular talent in performing arts, so singing, dancing, a musical instrument, they might be able to apply for a space at the school. We've got 16 spaces that are protected for students who have a particular talent in that area. You'll be informed by the 1st of March if you are successful in your place, in your application. So I'm just going to leave up our vision and our values for you so you can see it as you leave. I'd like to thank you massively once again for coming here this evening, and it's lovely to meet you all. Thank you. Yeah. Feel free to go either exit, that way or that way is either one. It's fine.
Go that way to the last one.